Sound effects.
Oh, look at us, Bob, in the dark.
I was like, I'm in the dark now. What's going on?
Oh, what's up? Hey, everybody. Welcome to Crossing the Streams, where we answer the universal question, what should I binge watch next? I just watched something, and now I got to watch something else. Well, you've come to the right place. Oh, we have over 123 hours of binge watching suggestions on our YouTube channel. Check it out. Link is in the caption and all that kind of good stuff. And here we are. We got a great show today. We're going to kick things off with our guest who's going to sing the theme song.
Nice.
I get to sing.
Well, you just have to do the first one. And
I like sing. I like it. I've done this before, Jeff. I've been here before. Here's the story of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends. Well, not really. Just between you and me. Do I keep going?
If you, yeah, I feel like you
I'll
want
go.
to. Go
They
ahead.
made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff Ronsell and Bob, and there's Marcy, and I don't know any of these people. They call it Crossing Streams.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You could hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform, but man, we crossed the streams.
Here we go.
Everyone,
We cross the
streams.
streams.
Cross the streams.
We cross
We
the
cross the
streams.
That's
the
the way
way
we do it. We
cross
Cross
the
the
streams.
What's up,
Hey,
Lee?
Yay. What's up, everyone?
Hey, Lee, what's going on?
What's going on?
Oh.
Lee spelled L-I?
It's
L.I..
It's Lee. Well, yeah, Li. The okay, so a couple things. One is before my friend Ben Constantine passed away, he had said to me, "You got to see this movie, Searching for Sugar Man," and I never saw it. He passed away. Then years later, I finally got to it, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest documentary ever." I should have reviewed that, and maybe we'll do it its due. But the feature of that documentary, Rodriguez, who's from Detroit, Michigan, passed away. I think with either he died Tuesday. So it's we won't get into the whole documentary, but have any of you seen it? Have any of you guys seen
I
it?
have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Several years
Fascinating.
ago.
Fascinating documentary. Right, it's a 2012 documentary. Let's give it its due for 1 second. So Rodriguez, and you guys can help fill in because it's been a little bit since I've seen it, but Rodriguez in the 70s creates an album or two and basically goes nowhere. Goes absolutely nowhere. His career dies.
Yep.
Nothing. He's but what the documentary covers is some bootleg copies make it to, was it South Africa?
South Africa.
South Africa, where he's basically the equivalent of our Bob Dylan, but in South Africa. And he has no idea, and nobody knows who he is or anything like that. And so it's this whole documentary of how all those worlds finally collide and they find him and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's streaming free anywhere, but it's worth whatever you need to pay to see
Pretty
it.
cool story.
Yeah,
It's
I think
a
it'll come back.
fascinating
I
story.
think they'll bring it back out. It did win the Academy Award also
For documentary?
for
I didn't know
documentary
that.
film in that
Okay.
year. So it'll come back out onto the streamers.
Oh, you're right. It did in 2013. It won the best documentary feature. You are correct, sir.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, I know. I'm concurring. I tell you, the music is great. I have a playlist, like a walk run playlist that I do, and I've got a few of his songs in there because I started just playing the album over and over again. I really enjoyed it. So his music was pretty damn good too. So, and other musical news, Robbie Robertson passed away. He's a big name in I think the band.
The
and,
band.
You know, I'd read that too, and I didn't realize how integral he was to Scorsese's films over the last few decades, actually. He just finished the score for Killers of the Flower Moon, which hasn't even come out yet. And he did like pretty much everything up until that movie too. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was an amazing artist as well. So cool. All right. Well, anything else? You guys, what do we got? Oh, hey, Carmen. What's up, Carmen? Hey,
Yeah.
Carmen, what's up?
Carmen. Jerry, what's going on, Jerry? How you guys doing?
Mr. Chuck
So,
Owen.
so I actually have a comment on. Do you ever get like movie recommendations that your friends are just giving you for years, and every time you say you haven't watched it, they like razz you about it. It's like this
Yeah.
glaring hole in your repertoire and
Yeah.
all this stuff. So for me, it's always been Remember the Titans. I've never seen this movie, and everyone's on me on it. And finally, this past weekend, okay, I'm gonna watch friggin' Remember the Titans. Right? I watched that movie.
I know what you're gonna say.
What a piece of shit!
I'm telling you. Wasn't it?
Like that is a bad movie. What are people talking about? Like I'm so angry now at everybody who's been hitting me on this for years. That's
Right, you just wasted 2 hours of your life.
It's not a good, like, Fred, you've seen this movie, right?
I've seen it, but I don't recall it, and that must mean it's probably not very good.
Oh, it's
Because
so
I erased it.
schmaltzy and saccharine. You just want to vomit.
Exactly. It follows every trope and theme you can.
Is
you
that
can imagine.
Denzel? Is that Denzel?
It's Denzel.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Denzel and
So-
Will. Who's the co-star? His assistant coach. Will. No.
Patton.
Will
I
Patton.
just remember.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it was the guy. It was the guy from. Oh shoot! What was the
Ethan
movie
Suplee's in it. Wood Harris, Donald Faison.
There you go. Yeah.
Hayden Panettiere.
Hayden Panettiere.
Heroes.
Yeah, he's the guy they
Save
always
the
put in there
cheerleader, save the
to
world.
lend earthly gravitas to whatever's going on, and that's what his role was.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Ron.
Thanks. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that.
Garbage.
On side news, Only Murders in the Building came back yesterday.
Yeah.
2 episodes. So far, so good. And then I started watching. I'm a little behind the ball on this one. Not as far behind as Remember the Titans, but Barry. We're in season 3 of Barry. Wow, that is dark. That is a dark show.
Yeah, it's very well done, though.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it, but it's
a
wow,
lot of
dark.
people's favorite show, and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm behind you. But I hear good things about it. I just hear it is dark.
Yeah,
It is dark.
Yeah, it is dark. So, all right. Well, speaking of dark, no, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about the show. So we got last week we talked about The Golden Boy, The Bear, which I hope you guys stopped everything and watched that, The Beanie Bubble, and Missing the Lucy Blackman Case. And today we're talking about Silo, The YouTube Effect, Predestination, and I'll Be Gone in the Dark. So let's kick things off with Predestination.
Oh, all right, we're doing all right. So Predestination. I think when I was talking to you guys over text before we were doing the show, this is the trippiest movie I've ever seen, and not just because time travel is at its core. It's because of the way this thing is set up. It's Ethan Hawke. He is the star of this movie. I never watched a single episode of what was the one with Brian Cox? Come on, the big one that just ended.
Succession.
Succession. Sarah Snook. She was his daughter in that movie. She's an Australian actress, and this is an Australian science fiction movie based on a novel by Robert Heinlein. And it's there are 3 actors in this movie, and that's it. That's it. That's all you see. I can't
It's like the Lighthouse.
Kind of, yeah. Now, all of them have integral parts in this, and it's one of these things where I thought, well, do I really want to review this? Because there's very little I can say about the plot or how things shake out without giving it away. But let me just say this: this was done in 2014, so they filmed it 10 years ago, right? And then it came out a year later, right? So the trans issue is big in this movie. Now, if it had come out today, you could just hear MAGA world going crazy, going, I don't want to see this, and because it's about it's not. That part of that element of the movie is just sort of a I don't want to say it's an ancillary thing. They're not commenting on trans or not trans. It's just a part of the movie that has to be there for this plot to move forward, right? There's no social commentary. There's no opinion. It's what we thought 10 years ago, right? So the central conceit of this movie is that there is a bureau it's called the Temporal Bureau, and they're in charge of keeping the timeline correct. It's got a little bit of Loki in it. Remember, so you got these people that are charged with keeping things straight in the universe. It's a very dark movie, and in fact, it's only, I want to say it's an hour and a half. The first 40 minutes, I watched this, and the first 40 minutes plays like My Dinner with Andre. All right. 2 characters. That's it. Ethan Hawke and a guy in a bar talking about this guy's life and how he wound up where he was and all of the horrid things that happened to him. And just when you think you've picked the wrong movie, bang, it just goes off. And you're like, well, wait, what's happening here? And following it is a little bit difficult, but then it gets, but again, it's a time travel movie. So they treat you to all the tropes, don't screw around back in the past. You're going to screw up the future, right? All of that comes into play. But the Ethan Hawke is a guy who is obsessed with stopping a bomber in New York City in 1973. And it's called they call him the Fizzle Bomber. And I'm not going to tell you why that is, but so it's not just that he wants and needs to stop this. It's that he has tried and failed many times and has gone back to 73 and then to 69 and previous and then back and forth, violating all the rules of this society that's supposed to keep order. And so he thinks he's going to get killed for it, but his boss says, "No, I think I know I know why you're doing this. You go ahead and do it." But in between, there are love entanglements between people in different time areas, but they're the same people but different people. You know what I mean? It's hard to describe it without. I don't want to give too much away because it is the very trippiness that makes it all worthwhile in the end. This has maybe the greatest wrap up of any time travel movie ever, and you don't expect it. You just don't. Like I said, there's only 3 people in this movie, but there's more people that you. That's all I can say. So the great part about it is that I've never seen time travel treated this way. I've never seen it. I've never seen what's the word? You've had millions of time travel movies where, okay, there's going to be an explosion. It's going to destroy the world. No, this is one explosion in New York City, and it's a lot of people, but this guy is obsessed with stopping it, and you understand why as the movie goes on. It's not just that he wants to save people's lives. There are other considerations. So it moves along in a way, like I said, 40 minutes, just talk, man, in a bar in, I don't know, Brooklyn. I don't even remember. And just when you're ready to go, it takes you, and then it doesn't let go. So I just can't recommend this movie enough.
Wow.
I know that if you guys watch it, you'll understand exactly why I can't tell you anymore that there's only 3 actors in this movie, right?
What channel is it on?
Oh, what did I watch it on? I think it was on Netflix. I don't know. I can't remember. It was what I was doing.
Everyone drink.
Huh?
Everyone drink.
Everyone drink.
There you go. And I think I was just looking for underrated movies. I like to do that and find out what people think. And this was vastly underrated. Big Rotten Tomatoes score. Everybody loved it. But it just didn't go anywhere. And screenplay by people called the Spyrig brothers. Never heard of those guys. Directed by the Spyrig brothers. Based on All You Zombies by Robert A. Heinlein. And, it was shot in Australia. So little movie, big ideas, big bang of an ending. Highly recommend.
It looks like you have to buy or rent it. So.
Yeah, I think I rented it.
So,
yeah, time travel is something. It is. It's true.
so I'm really glad to hear this, Bob, because first off, I love time travel movies, and so I am going to seek this one out. But I'm particularly glad because you may recall a few weeks ago I did a similar Sarah Snook Australian movie review with Run Rabbit Run, and not a good movie. So I'm glad to know that she's capable of picking other good things other than Succession. So
she is phenomenal in this movie.
She was in the Beanie Bubble that I talked about last week. She was okay. I mean, it was like a boring role.
She plays multiple parts in this movie, and you can't take her eyes off her. You can't take your eyes off this thing. You just can't. It's so compelling and so weird, but it's not so weird. It's not weird. Like, did you see Annihilation with? This was probably 5 years ago. With Oscar Isaac and who's the Natalie Portman. It was so weird that you just went, I feel I'm disturbed. I don't think my soul can take any more of this. It was so odd. This is not that. It shoots you along after those first 40 minutes. So
not soul crushing.
No, it's just, I'm telling you though, at the end, you'll just be going, your jaw's going to hit the floor. There you go.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to watch it. I'm on vacation.
That's bold.
I'm on vacation this week, so I'm going to watch it.
All right.
Oh, I forgot something, by the way. Great review, Bob. But
Thank you.
We have to take a quick break and say happy birthday to
Oh,
Fred.
yeah. Oh,
Kiddo,
Freddie.
happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks. I
It's
made it
Fred's birthday. And we're
30,
here.
34, 35? How old are you?
close. 54.
All right.
Nice.
Fred is a catch a rising star in front of the brick wall.
I'll be here all week.
I'll be here all week.
All right,
Yes.
let's keep the spotlight on the birthday boy. Let's do I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
Excellent. Anybody else watch this already?
I've
So-
not
No,
seen
I've
this.
read
No.
about it. Was that not Patton Oswalt's late wife?
Yeah. So we'll get into
That's
that.
all I know
So-
about it. Yeah.
So I'll Be Gone in the Dark is on Max, which is so confusing. It's HBO who bought out Cinemax, then confused us all like Apple TV does with us, where you don't know if you could watch this show or you got to rent this show or you got to buy this show. Apple TV confuses me. Same thing on Max now. Have you noticed that with the Max?
Yep.
That it's just every movie now, but you don't have the ability to see them all.
Hulu does that too. I did that, but you like all of a sudden you want to watch this, and next thing you know, you're paying for HBO.
Yeah. So this is a doc, which is a short series doc, and I believe it's 5 1-hour episodes, and it's still available. It's still available on HBO Max or whatever the hell you call it. It's based off the book written by Michelle McNamara, who is the wife of the marginally entertaining comedian Patton Oswalt. Do you guys actually find Patton Oswalt funny?
I enjoy Patton Oswalt.
I do. Yeah. Sometimes.
Very entertaining. Yes. Go ahead.
When he was on roasts, I thought he was okay.
I think he's good in scenarios. I mean, he's great on Parks, stuff like that. But I don't know. I like him. He's fine, but he's marginal. So he's no Bob the Suit.
Hey, thank you.
Let's put it that
Good
way.
night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody. So it's about her obsession with true crime. Her whole life, she's had this since her neighbor was murdered when she was younger. And I believe in Michigan, if I'm getting this right, but I'm not sure. But it's her obsession as an enthusiast in this. She gets degrees and everything, and she's got the cold case of the Golden State Killer. And this is a guy who raped 50 women and killed 10. So
Wow, I didn't know it was that many. That's wow.
yeah,
I forgot that.
Golden State Killer. So I'll go off a little here. Not a great moniker for a madman, murderer, rapist. Okay, it's just not. And we tend to do this. I don't know who comes up with these names. Is it the media? Because
Probably.
these murderers start to sound like superheroes, or or I don't know if I'm watching the news or a wrestling event. You got the Zodiac Killer, Jack the Ripper, Dr. Death, BTK. So I don't know about you, but it sounds like, I don't know, way better names than Fredd. They're definitely better names than my name, Fredd. So, but I think they should start calling these guys like Angry at His Tiny Penis Dirtbag Killer or something like that. Because
it's a solid point, Fredd, because
Right.
even when you watch these movies, they always get good-looking actors, and everyone
Exactly.
wants to have sex with the serial killer murderers, and they make them seem like so romanticized, and then they downplay.
They give them a great name. They give them an amazing name. Golden State Killer sounds amazing. You know, you sound like you're powerful. But if they just called him the Angry Penis at his little penis.
That was my nickname in college.
Yeah, hey, mine too. I didn't go to college though. But
it would have been.
It would definitely get me to read the articles more. It's catchy and sadly relatable. So the show explores her relentless chase for not only who, what, or why, but also her own obsessive behaviors in her quest. Her lack of sleep, which was due to insomnia, her abuse or potential abuse of prescription pills while she's doing this. So unfortunately, here's a spoiler alert. It's been out a while. She dies. She dies. She's dead. Her death, which was mysteriously happened in her sleep and became the story, because Patton Oswalt had to step in and finish this book and the series and everything with her assistance. I mean, she was a pro. She was an absolute pro. And, you know, they finished the book, and with DNA and all that stuff, they were able to catch this guy and incarcerate him. They caught him, incarcerated. Her obsession paid off. I think she's dead, so I don't know if it paid off, but was it worth it? I just don't know. You know, I don't know where your success lies.
It was to Patton Oswalt. He got all the money for it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think
it's a dark take, guys.
It's called "I'll Be Gone in the Dark." She certainly is gone in the dark.
Well, now, woo!
Bam. So I'm unsure of the ultimate end result, but her autopsy did come back eventually, and it did reveal Xanax with fentanyl and other mixes in her system. So whatever, she was very revered by the detectives and stuff. They actually called her a hero. She really dug deep into this, but there's all kinds of theories out there of how she died, why she died. She was very young. She was only like 45 when she passed. So it's a great story because it does talk. It's soon enough. It happened in the 70s and 80s. So now the victims, obviously not the 10 he killed, but of the 50 rape, she's able to interview these women. They're still alive, and now they're grown women. They're all they were mostly teenager girls. He would like seek out, a lot of it was seeking out, of course, it was before all the security and stuff. He would wait for the parents to like go out on a Friday night, and their 14 to 15, 16-year-old daughters left home alone. And he would just go in and do his thing. So he was quite the busy guy. Yeah, very prolific, but it was a good doc, and I think it's worth watching.
I'm gonna watch that. That's been on my list since that was done, and it's sounds like a very compelling view.
How many episodes did you say this was?
I think it's 5. I believe it's 5 1-hour episodes. It's a mini doc.
What's it on again?
HBO Max or Max or whatever the hell it's called now.
Okay, and so part of the story is her passing away.
Yeah, well, the last parts of it is because she dies halfway through. She's very close to finishing this book, but somebody now has to piece it together because when you're writing a
Yeah.
book like this, you're just writing chapter, and then you go and you put it together. This one goes here, this one goes here. She didn't have any of that. She had boxes of evidence and stuff like that with DNA on it, but they didn't have DNA in 70s and 80s to test, but they saved the stuff. And then she used 23andMe to find a relative that connected to that DNA and was able to pin it down to this guy.
So thanks, cops. You had that available and much more. And a private citizen with 23andMe figured
It's
it
actually
out.
it's actually a very popular thing going on now. These syndicates that get together, like a group like us, to solve cold cases, because we actually have more power or different power than the police have. The police can't just do things that me and you can do. We could go and sit outside somebody's house. They can't. They need warrants. They need all these things. We're just the public Joes. Of course, you're putting yourself in danger and potential. You don't have the safety they do. You're not carrying your gun, and you don't have a cop car and with handcuffs and all that. But there are people out there that do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet you do. But yeah, it's a very watchable thing. Besides, Patton Oswalt doesn't impress me in it or anything. I'm not very impressed with him besides his Mandalorian guess.
You brought up an interesting point about people having powers that the cops don't have, and how these things are sometimes getting solved with these internet groups. In fact, I'll do this one next week. It's a similar kind of premise. It's a true story. It's called "Don't Fuck with Cats." Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I've heard of it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean this was
that went off the wall.
Yeah, it did. But
the website warriors though can get it wrong and make it difficult for people's lives. There was another documentary about some hotel where some girl disappeared and she ends up in the water
in the
tank.
shaft. Yeah.
Yes.
And the website warriors, pinned it on some guys that had nothing to do with it and ruined their lives.
Great.
So it's all right. Well, let's Fred, that was a great birthday thing. And,
thank you.
Nicely done, Freddie.
Yes.
Thanks. I try to be prepared. Try.
All right, well, let's keep it upbeat and go with the YouTube effect.
Oh my gosh.
Have you guys? The YouTube effect is a documentary. I interviewed Alex Winter, not too.
Oh yeah,
long
that's
ago.
right. Yeah.
So Alex Winter, also tying into time travel movies, who was in one of the greatest time travel movies of all time.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Not the third one though. The third one was not the best one.
No, the first one was the best one.
Yeah.
And he played Bill S. Preston Esquire, but he's also a well-known documentarian. So he's made stuff on the dark web, the whole music download thing that happened, Frank Zappa. He's got about 9-10 movies that he's actually made. And so the YouTube effect is his most recent one. He's it basically, and this is going to be a short review, but it just came out recently, and it kind of goes into the whole history of YouTube and what a dangerous role it played in society. And it was interesting because it debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2022, so it's pretty new. And it basically it's a troubling look at YouTube, and it talks about its origins, which is interesting. Like Mark Cuban was quoted as saying, when Google bought YouTube, that they were morons. It was like a horrible acquisition. That didn't. Google paid $1.65 billion. It's hard to believe though, but at a time there wasn't really any good way to get video on the internet. We take it for granted, some of these things so much now, but in 2005 when it debuted, it started getting 2 million views a day. I mean, this is like revolutionary. Today it's like 2,006 billion users worldwide. I mean, as early like in 2011, they were getting 3 billion views a day.
Oh my gosh.
And the documentary kind of goes into how the algorithm would serve up stuff. You may be looking at stuff on bunny rabbits, and the next thing you're down a rabbit hole of some alt-right QAnon conspiracy theory. And it was literally converting people. I mean, people would just, would start to fall down that, believe everything they were seeing. And you think back to the pandemic, that one guy that made a video that you needed to wipe off all your stuff and keep it in the garage for a week. And how many people then did that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that just went viral. But it's like, but it talks about the people that, and it interviews a lot of people that have gone down the alt-right rabbit holes and what their YouTube has done or is doing to fix that or make it right, and some of the things they did and then reversed. And so it kind of, it's a really interesting documentary. So I definitely, you got to pay for it. It's streaming. It's just came out.
I just have to say, when it comes to YouTube or frankly, of any of the social media, it's a tough balance between the ethics of it and the business side of it, right? Like they're in the business of making money. They want as many clicks and follows and watches, and they want you to stay on. They want you to doom scroll. But at the same time, they have a social responsibility, which has impact on us as a society. So it's like,
but couldn't you say the same thing about a company that makes our lives easier, but it's destroying the ozone layer? I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's destroying like the social infrastructure. Like everything that we're dealing with now isn't 100% YouTube, but Twitter, Facebook, all these algorithms that if you watch the what's the other documentary, the about
Facebook, about
where
the social network, right? Yeah, I know
social dilemma.
Social dilemma. Thank you.
Which this is what this is what YouTube was doing too, and what Facebook did, and I'm sure Twitter is that it feeds you what you believe. So it's just like if you believe what Fox News tells you, then you go watch Fox News, then you have a heightened sense of belief in all those topics or the people saying it. And in all fairness, I'll say the people that go and watch MSNBC or CNN, it's same thing, right? So we're all fed what we believe, and then it creates this giant divide.
Now, are we on YouTube right now, or we aren't?
We are.
We are.
Yes.
So, Jeff, do you have much? I know I do a lot of research and stuff trying to get better at YouTube and all that. Do you have any luck yourself on YouTube with the algorithm, figuring it out, all the stuff, how to write something properly, the headline, and like the Mr. Beast has mastered this?
I feel like there's certain people that there's only so many Mr. Beasts, right? I mean,
one.
Right? Well,
That's
I'm just
it.
saying, like anyone even close. I put stuff on YouTube because if it's easy for if 30 people want to listen to one episode of my podcast or 20 want to watch this show on YouTube, let them. You know what I mean? But it's not a primary thing. You'll never see me actively say, go follow me on YouTube, because if let's say I get, I'll give you a thing. My YouTube is monetized. Okay. So it'll put ads in. So I crossed 100,000 views. Lifetime of my entire YouTube, I've made just under $50. Okay. So to make any amount of money on YouTube, I would have to go from the, let's say hundreds of views a day I get to hundreds of thousands of views. Maybe every 6
are you
hours.
familiar, Jeff? Are you familiar though with like the platform of ad revenue on YouTube, how to create an ad and all that stuff? Have you ever tried that through Google?
I've never made an ad to do anything. No.
So the way they work it is bidding. It's all bidding. And I do this a lot with my books, and I do it for other authors, where you have to pay. So you're going to bid, say you're going to bid $15 to have Jeff Dwoskin, the word Jeff Dwoskin. Somebody could outbid you and they get the revenue before you get. It's so confusing. You have to look it up and see what I'm talking about, but you literally need software to figure out keywords to put into your ads, and it's very confusing and very expensive. So I've lost more money on YouTube, but I like YouTube.
There is an enterprise that I'm involved with. I won't tell you what it is right now because I can't. But in general, the people that are getting the highest number of plays, and there are two that are part of this new platform. 1 million plays has resulted in something like $1,000 in revenue for them. 1 million plays. So it's $1 per 1,000 plays, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the right word, right?
Right. And how many people in this quote unquote venture, of which we will not name, are there? Roughly.
It's
100?
probably 60 different people with various different kinds of popularity and play. And a couple of them went viral, and yeah, they made $1,000 on 1 million plays. So you really gotta,
Well, Ron, without Ron having to say who he works for and stuff, doesn't your company do a lot of commercialism?
Crap
stuff?
ton. They're all over it. Every day. It's ridiculous.
But you have that company has a crew. I mean, a large.
That's true. They have a whole
Right.
marketing department that
A whole department that does this, and it is you guys. I don't know what your status in the business is. Are you ever in any of these meetings?
Yeah,
talking about this part.
They look to me for suggestions on how to promote. And I'm like, listen, I'm not a content creator. I'm not a marketer. Like, you guys, this is what you guys get paid for. So I always push it back on them, and they do a good job, but they're always looking for.
Yeah, they do.
My opinion.
But it's got to be a nonstop. I mean, it's a 24-hour machine at that point, marketing something like that, where they got to find the angle. They got to find what's going to work tomorrow, not today, tomorrow. They got to be ahead of it. It's very confusing. Did we get off subject a little here?
A little bit.
No, I don't know.
So.
Still interesting.
YouTube. Still talking YouTube.
Yeah.
Can I just circle back around, Jeff, real quick, and just say,
please.
With all the things all the negative press we've heard about TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and all the things that hook the kids, I just I'll speak for my own house, my own family. My girls are on YouTube by all the other platforms combined. They're on YouTube more than that.
Really?
So yeah,
that's a little surprising.
YouTube is their go-to. You leave them alone anywhere, YouTube is what they're on.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just throwing it out there that YouTube has a huge impact on my kids' lives, and it does for all their friends too.
Did your kids watch Crossing the Streams?
They have. They actually have. In fact, my Amelia, my youngest, wanted to come on and be a guest. So Amelia, if you're watching right now, and she may actually be, Mr. Dwoskin may want to make a suggestion about having a 15-year-old on the show.
I think she's over 13. That's
she'd probably be the most astute guest ever.
She'd actually have something to say.
Yeah, I think if she's with you, Ron, I'm totally fine with it.
All right. Then she's invited. I'll let her know. She's the only of the 3 girls. She's the only one that's interested. So I'll let her know.
All right.
Well, that's good.
All right. Impress your kids with Silo.
I watched
Silo. Did you watch it, Freddie?
Yeah.
I've watched the first 2.
Do I not get a graphic today, Jeff? Is that?
I did. I just put it up. What are you talking about?
I didn't see it.
Oh, the silo graphic? I saw it.
Yeah.
Kind of a burnt orange theme.
There it is. So very good. So here's the thing about
Here it is
Silo.
again.
There we go.
It was there though. You missed it. You missed it.
This is really weird. I'm looking right at my screen right now, and I'm still not seeing it. But whatever. That's no big deal. This was a book series that Jeff and my friend Brian Abrams became hyper over, and became this addict over all these Silo books. and he got me to read the first book, which is entitled Wool, which is the setup for this show. Now, here's what's interesting is that this show was purchased and produced back in 2012. So it's like the book came out back then, and that it was the rights were bought to it originally, and then it was promptly shelved, never to be seen again until Apple came around in 2021 and picked up the rights to it and got Graham Yost. You guys know who Graham Yost is?
I know the name, but don't know what
he produced Justified. I don't know if you guys remember Justified.
Okay. Yeah.
He also worked on. He was one of the producers for Speed, which is just on a side note. I freaking love that movie.
Great movie.
Yeah. So anyway, so when Graham Yost came on, they broke it out of its movie form and into a 10-part miniseries, which really is a big commitment from Apple. And they really were committed to telling the full story of this dystopian situation on Earth, assuming it's Earth. And the story begins and plays out in this underground silo, which has I believe, Freddie, is it 100 levels or 150 levels? I can't remember.
Yeah, you're in that range. You're in the range.
Yeah, and basically, the further up you are, the more aristocratic you might be, and down at the bottom is some of the engineering and mining and some of the things that
So steerage on the Titanic.
Right. There's the physical class dispute going on, but the story is actually a really good one, and I just have to say, for Bobby and Jeff, do you guys know the story at all?
I watched the first 2 episodes.
So I don't know. I don't know anything about it. No.
Yeah. So there's this massive bunker. It's called the Silo. There's an entire community that lives, thrives, and like generations that have grown up there, lived, and died. And prior to the development of the Silo, like records just like stopped. And so people who've lived in the Silo have no idea what was true prior to the Silo being born. There's just no records of it. There's no nothing. And some I don't want to give away too much, but I just would say that some clues start to happen that the local law enforcement and his wife start to become curious about some interesting pieces of the Silo. And it leads to, and this is not wrecking anything, it leads to early on the sheriff's wife breaking the cardinal rule of Silo. And that is, if you say out loud that you want to leave the Silo, they'll let you leave the Silo, but you can never take it back. Like if you speak the words, I want to leave, I want to get out, you're out. And that's all fine and well until you find out that the air outside is completely poisonous. And they put you in a suit to, you've got about maybe 3 minutes outside before you succumb to the poisonous atmosphere outside. And the big thing about it is that everybody who goes outside, the expectation is that before they die, and the title of this book is Wool, before they die, they will take a piece of wool out of their suit and wipe off the camera so that people inside the Silo can continue to see clearly outside the Silo. So it's like basically to clean the window so that people now, why the Silo wasn't built with window wipers or like the ability to spray.
So over time it gets obscured, and somebody.
Yes,
well, what if somebody doesn't speak the words? They just.
It'll just get dirtier and dirtier until someone finally goes crazy and says, "I want to leave," and they let them. And it's one of the things that they never really explain until the end. That people always clean. Like it's once you're out of the Silo, you're beyond the laws of the Silo, so you can do whatever you want, but you only have a few minutes to live. So why would people take some of those seconds to clean the camera? Well, you don't know, and you don't find out until the end of the series. And let me just say this: logistically, it's on Apple TV Plus. It's a 10-part series. Each episode is roughly 50 minutes in length. It stars someone who you've never heard of before. This woman named Rebecca Ferguson. She's Swedish. She does a wonderful, wonderful job. But Rashida Jones from Parks and Rec is in there, and I love Rashida Jones. Seeing her in a dramatic role is actually really interesting. And then Tim Robbins, who, just as far as I'm concerned, can do no wrong in anything. In anything he touches.
So it is great.
Comments in it. Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't read the book. I don't know anything about the book. I just started watching the show. I got 2 episodes in and started having flashes of what was that show recently with Adam Scott, also on Apple TV.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, you're talking about where they where they split brain?
Ben Stiller's show.
Stiller. It's called
Severance.
Severance. Yeah. Right.
Severance to me was 8 hours. It should have been 4 hours.
It's slow. It's a slow roll, but he does set it up.
Slow. Nothing happens. Severance to me was like people rave about Severance because the last hour was great, but it took 8 hours to get to that.
Yeah.
And so when I'm watching Silo, I'm watching the first 2 episodes and I'm like, oh geez, if this is not, I got 8 more hours of this. I don't know if I'm willing to risk that this payoff's going to be worth 8 hours of my time, an entire freaking day of my life.
Okay, that speaks to you right there. That you binge it in one day.
Well,
no, I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying collectively when you add it up, that's how
Listen, let me just say this. It's a heavy show. It's dark. It's dystopian. I'm just speaking for myself. I can't handle this, day after day. Like, to me, there's got to be some space for me in between episodes. I can't binge 6 episodes of this.
It sounds a little bit like Snowpiercer.
I never saw it.
The movie was great. What's Bojan? The guy who did
Chris Evans, wasn't Chris Evans?
Yeah, he starred in the movie, which was great, and I can't remember the director, Korean director. Really great movie, and then they had a great series.
Yeah,
but it was similar to that. I mean, it was 190 below zero.
Yeah,
okay. If you left the train, bye, right?
Yeah,
and some people were.
So let me just say this, and this is, I don't want to ruin anything if anyone's going to watch it, but I'll just say this, that there's questions throughout the series about whether the air really is toxic. Whether Silo is just trying to control people, and that in fact, for hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, that wherever they are is back to being okay again.
Right.
And you don't know that. And so the notion that people are leaving the silo voluntarily might suggest that they know something that perhaps the rest of the community doesn't, right? And that's part of the interest of this.
Yeah, it definitely keeps you there.
Yeah. Now I will just say that I read all of the books, and my fear for the story in Silo, because the story is just the first book, right? So there's in order to continue to the second book and the second part of the story, they were going to have to handle the payoff really, really delicately. And I was so fearful that they were going to screw it up. And that, and by the way, this thing has already been renewed for a second season. However, you may have read in the news that this was one of the victims of the actor and writing strike. So whereas some shows are still in pre-production and still kind of muddling along, this show is completely shut down, utterly shut down.
Well, can I want to step in because I have information on one thing. So first of all, I'm very familiar with the author, Hugh Howey, and it's something that I do, obviously, as an author. He is perhaps the most successful independent published author of all time. He is not a signed author. He wrote these books a while ago, all these Wool and all that. He was a marketing genius way before his time on the Amazon platform. I'll put it this way. As an independent author, most of us make under $10,000 a year that write books. This guy's worth $5 million plus, okay, off of independent and published, and he still hasn't sold his rights. He is signed now, but he's a marketing genius where he wrote these books where he would write half a book, sell it to you for $1.99, and then give you the ending for $8.99 type stuff. Because he had such good hooks. He knew how to hook you. Now it is, I believe, illegal to do that now. It's at least immoral. It's not, if not illegal, but I don't think they allow it anymore because we'd all do it. We would all us authors would follow that same platform in hopes just to get lucky. But even when he was signed by Simon and Schuster, I believe, or whoever it was that took it, he never lost his rights to the ebook. He refused to give his ebook rights to them and still so he's double dipping now.
Yeah.
They're reprinting the books and he's still getting the ebook 100%.
Freddie, I have to believe now that this thing has been renewed for season 2, I have to believe he's making a ton of money on this movie.
Yes.
This series. It's now second to Ted Lasso, the number 2 series on Apple TV Plus, right? So it's big, you guys, and I know it cost a lot of money, but this thing is getting huge reviews. Its Rotten Tomato scores is in the 90s.
Wow.
I mean, everybody loves this thing. So let me just get back
as long as you like dystopian. As long as you like dystopian.
Does it pay off?
Well, that's what I was just going to get to, Jeff. So thank you. I was so fearful about how this was going to get handled, and I just want to say, and Fred, I'm interested in your opinion. I thought they handled the payoff exquisitely. Like they did it so well, and there's little details that if you're like me and you're a nerd, I always watch after I watch the final episode of a show, I go straight to YouTube to get the reviews of final episodes to see things that I didn't notice and to get other people smarter than me, their opinion of how it was. And everyone's on the same page about this, that this is just that it wrapped up so smoothly and so perfectly as a setup for the next book. And I agree. I'm thrilled.
I agree. But I also think we need to do some research to see if Hugh Howey himself played any role in the writing, because it went so smooth compared to in contrast with the book.
Yeah. It
went so smooth that it's hard for me to believe he wasn't part of the writing team to make it get to that point.
Yeah. You're right. That's interesting. But I just want to say, Bobby, based on what you said a minute ago, the final moments of this show are such a punch in the face for people who don't know the story.
Okay.
That it's like one of those things where you have to rethink everything. Like literally 10 episodes, you have to rethink through the lens of the last minute and a half of this show.
Okay.
Right? Like it's one of those. It's one of those.
I'll watch it just for that.
Yeah.
By the way, the actress you're talking, Rebecca Ferguson, she's been around. She was I just saw her in Mission Impossible. She was.
That's right. She's in Mission Impossible.
That's right. What else? She was in Doctor Sleep. She was the villain in that.
That's right. Oh my gosh, Bobby, good for you. Yeah, she's beautiful, and I guess, but she's pretty dark and scary in this movie.
Yeah.
In this series.
She was also in Dune, Men in Black, another Mission Impossible.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That Dune movie, that's not out yet, is it? Is that about to be out? Are you guys?
There's a reason they can't release it. Something to do with the strike, isn't it?
I don't know.
Wait, Ron, I had one more question. So 10 hours of that show is all based on one book?
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's a 3-book. So just so it doesn't get confusing, there is 3 books in the Silo series, but one of them is named Silo. The other's Wool. The other's Dust. Right. And it's 3 of them. And what he did was Silo was a standalone originally that he wrote in, I'm looking at it right now, 2011. He initially wrote Wool as a standalone short story, published it through Amazon Kindle Direct, choosing to do so for the freedom of self-publishing. After the series grew in popularity, he began to write more chapters of it and sold them chapter by chapter. Very similar to how Stephen King did with
the Green Mile.
The Green Mile, where I was getting it in the mail every month.
Yeah.
It was coming in the mail.
Freddie, my wife and I did the same thing. We read them as book. What are they called? Novelettes? Is that what they were called?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So yes, Jeff, of the three books, this story of Silo is the first book, the first book's story. It very clearly points you to the beginning of the second book. That's the culmination of this series. So that's why I'm so thrilled to hear that they were greenlighted for season 2, because I'm going to guess unless they season 8 Game of Thrones it, they're going to still follow the content of the Silo series. I hope they do.
So something interesting that I just read though about it is because he's an independent author and has the ability to do whatever he wants. He has nobody telling him what to do. He went back and altered the books to match the show. Usually the show's trying to alter the book. He was able to go back, and now his book's for sale again in another version, and it's just resale. He's a marketing genius.
Yeah.
The guy just knows how to market.
Well, is there a Starbucks cup in any scene?
No,
toward the end of that.
There's not. Thank God. Does anything? I don't know. Do you guys still read? I mean, I'm trying to get back into reading right now.
Yes.
Nothing irritates me more than when I see a book that I just have loved in my childhood, and then it's got a picture of the actor from some stupid movie that was applied to it years after the book was ever made, and now it's just a piece of marketing for the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a book anymore. It's the written words of a movie, and I hate that. That makes me crazy when I see that. But
yeah, it's
like
hard.
They destroyed
the movie, when you're reading a book and you're watching it, it depends what you prefer to platform. I read a lot of books. Every day I read something, but to watch the movie it's a struggle because the actor doesn't match what you see in your head and all that stuff. And it just pisses you off after a while, but it is impossible to do. Otherwise you dumb down your actors pool.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Jeff, I know we're at the end of the show. Can I just throw one other sidebar in here?
Yeah, please.
So unfortunately, I wasn't here for the Barbie review. And I just want to say
we all wore pink.
I've had more arguments with people over Barbie for all the reasons you probably think. And I can't remember the last movie that has incited more anger from about the freaking Barbie dolls and just it's just I know there's a lot of metaphors here, but I just will say people need to chill out about this movie. My gosh, it's
about things in general. I agree.
Oh my gosh,
it's a great movie, but it is a woman hating trap. Meaning, if you don't like women, you watch that movie. You come out going anti-man, like Bill Maher, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah,
it's like
well,
I
think it's important. It is important for just the world in general. She's the first woman ever to have $1 billion film, so she should be She should be celebrated for that.
Freddie, it raced past $1 billion. It's going to do $2 billion.
It hasn't even hit streaming yet.
That's right.
It hasn't even hit streaming.
This thing has not slowed down. Of my daughters, each of them have seen this now 2 times, and my little one's seen it 3 times now. Like they're going back.
My daughter saw it twice by the first Friday.
Yeah, I'm telling you that it's like these people. Barbie is getting repeat customers, repeat revenue.
Well, they figured out a marketing term. I love marketing, by the way, in case you can't tell, because I talk about it a lot. But between the Barbie and the Oppenheimer, you're going to see this more now. These drastic differences where they both won. They figured a formula out to get the women here, the men here, and make it interesting for women here and men here. They've done it, and it's just genius. It turns me on. Just turns me on.
It is great. And Oppenheimer, I think, owes everything to Barbie, because I'm sure it would have still been a revered movie, but doubt it would have made even close to what it made. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. Is it okay?
Amazing. I've seen it twice, and I saw it in IMAX. I saw it in 70 millimeter. I drove 3 hours to watch the movie.
Did you really? 3 hours?
We don't have an IMAX theater in Connecticut.
Well, what New York's 45 minutes.
I didn't go to New York. I chose to go to Rhode Island.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I
Wow.
chose Rhode
That's
Island.
dedication, dude. That's
Yep.
really
Yeah.
dedication.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
It was
really
worth
like
it.
you like your radiation.
Well, it was worth it. It was worth it. It's great. But you could review that another time. But we're almost out of time here, Jeff.
Yes, we are.
We there's no real.
I know.
There's nothing that stops. But we can't. All right, say goodnight, Fred. Thank you for joining us on your birthday.
Hey, thank you for allowing me to come on your show whenever I want, whenever I ask.
Always welcome. Always welcome. Say goodnight, Bob.
Hey, good night, everybody. Catch me. Was it August 16th? Is that the Genetti's Sal and Bob show? And then August 17th is the Gray Matter show at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle that you were talking about going to.
Oh, isn't your shows are on Thursdays, aren't they?
Yes.
At Genetti's. So the 16th is at Ridley's. The 17th is at Genetti's.
Oh,
The
so it's
23rd,
Wednesday.
we are off. We're debating whether we'll be off next week also to go see Bob live. So
That would be fun.
I'll jump in on that.
I'm not coming, Bob. I'm not.
Okay, Fred. Well, you'll go 3 hours for an IMAX.
Say
You can get a
goodnight,
plan.
Ron. Say
Good night, boys and girls. I'm off back in the air to Chicago this week, and then believe it or not, back to Burning Man for 10 more days. So
Get the hell out of here. Are you
Yeah.
really?
I really am.
Are you wearing your steampunk outfit? From
I
All right,
got it
good
sitting right
night,
there.
everybody.
Good night.
And that has been another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow the Jeff DeWaskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff DeWaskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us, listen to our podcasts, Classic Conversations, and the Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.